There was a controversial memo put out by the Attorney General October 4th of 2021 about the partnership between the FBI and local law enforcement to go after parents because of school board meetings. The Attorney General, I held that in my hand right now. The Attorney General was then questioned by the Committee on the Judiciary on October 21st.
I can't imagine any circumstance in which the Patriot Act would be used in the circumstances of parents complaining about their children, nor can I imagine a circumstance where they would be labeled as domestic terrorism.
Really? I mean, that's what you're saying. And we've got a memo, a joint message from the Criminal Investigation Division and the Counterterrorism Division.
Well, a whistleblower has come out with a memo that was sent around the FBI, which the DOJ and Garland oversees, the day before he testified. The day before he testified that he couldn't imagine parents would be treated this way. Well, here's what it says to do. As a result of the what's been happening in these school boards, the counterterrorism and criminal divisions of the FBI have created a threat tag.
That is the same thing that the FBI, Department of Justice, Department of the Treasury, and the FEC, when Lois Lerner sent out that email saying, gee, if we can find one thing to charge here, we could really do something. Can we find one charge against one of these groups? That'll shut them down. And that's exactly what the FBI is doing here, or the Department of Justice, except it's parents at a school board meeting.
This is signed off by the Assistant Director of Counterterror at the FBI and Assistant Director of Criminal Activity at the FBI. So these are top officials, exactly opposed to what Garland was testifying he could never imagine happening.
So we have the Counterterrorism and Criminal Division basically asserting, along with national school board associations and some local school boards, that parents are effectively domestic terrorists.
Merrick Garland made a total misstatement here. And that is in the record
Absolutely.
right now.
The day after this memo was issued, and he said, I can't imagine that this is taking place. Well, here's the problem with that. It was taking place on the day he made that statement. So the point that Congressman Jordan is making is the Attorney General, Jay, absolutely has to come back in front of Congress and clarify that record. In the absence of that, Jay, this is an incorrect statement to Congress. That's a very serious problem.
The idea here is that would the FBI
We're representative democracy for number one.
be the right tool to go after that kind of, even if it was civil disobedience? No, it would be the states and localities who would need to make sure that they can keep a well-run school board meeting.
I did this. You remember these kids, you were young. When the federal government tried to regulate abortion protests, my argument was, wait a minute. If there's a violation of the state trespass laws here, right, Harry? I mean, if you bring in local law enforcement and you charge people with trespass, you don't charge them with violations of the federal Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871.
This is what the FBI put out. We do these kind of tags like for drug traffickers and human traffickers. You mean federal criminals. Those are federal crimes, clear federal crimes. You're comparing these parents to drug traffickers. I'll say right off the bat, if a parent makes a physical threat of violence, local law enforcement should handle that easily.
What are the elements of the crime? If a federal crime, what are the elements of a federal crime at a unruly school board meeting or even something threatening? Generally, those kind of issues, and we're not saying anybody should threaten. We think that's wrong. But it's handled by local law enforcement. This is where the federal government right now does not understand their jurisdictional limitations on anything.
What we have in Washington is basically a globalist move to concentrate power in Washington, and basically every other American is now a subject rather than a citizen of these bureaucrats.
It also uses words that sound bad but are very general. Intimidation and harassment. Now, there may be someone on the school board who doesn't like me because I show up to every meeting and I get a little upset about my kids. That doesn't mean I've committed any crime. Doesn't mean I had to threaten their livelihood or threaten any physical action against them. I can be angry.
The words here that jump out to me, Harry, are distributing, spike, and harassment and intimidation. By the way, both of which are not federal crimes.
Essentially, the FBI is asking this question: how dare parents have an opinion?
Exactly.
And particularly, how dare they have an opinion which differs from the opinion of experts. And so essentially what the FBI is now doing, it is attempting to criminalize an opinion that arguably violates the First Amendment of the Constitution.
The FBI, using its counterterrorism division to try and scare you away, because that's ultimately what this is, scare you away from actually getting civically engaged, which is what the government should be encouraging at the federal and local level. That is what they are trying to do.